evening, church. Thank you so much for joining us for Real Talk tonight. We are having a couch session with our favorite and only Pastor. Pastor, we're about to ask you some real questions, okay? And I'm actually very excited because you can't really not answer them.
Yeah, and I can't really say I don't know, so I've got to know. Hey, that's my job. My job is to know everything.
Exactly. They say with grey hair comes wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah.
And so you already know everything.
Yeah,
so
I do know everything. Yeah.
Now I can just ask.
Ask
away.
Now I'm glad you're asking me. I know everything.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, church, tonight we're going to pick the pastor's brain a little bit, not in a
physical sense.
Not physically, because social distancing is still a thing.
No.
But we are going to chat a little bit about what church used to look like, what church might look like in the future, and how it's all working now. Because the last few weeks, I mean, you've had to literally build a plane while it's flying and figure out how to do church a whole new way in just a matter of weeks. And so that must have taken a lot of guts, a lot of courage, a lot of stress eating.
It does, I think one of the things that I think I started to enjoy maybe at a much younger age was change.
Yeah.
Because when I was young, change didn't happen much.
Yeah.
And so on. And then now change happens all the time. We said change happens every now and then. Now it happens all the time.
It does.
And I think if you don't learn to actually get a kick out of that, you're really going to suffer. And you're going to suffer now as well, because change is happening every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear something on the news tonight, tomorrow they change it.
Yeah.
Because we are building a plane while we're flying it.
Exactly.
And if you get cross with that, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you just got to say. Hey, listen, I will embrace change. I would love change. Change is great.
Yeah.
Because I think what we think is that when things change, that everything is unstable, everything is uncertain. Instead of just saying change can make things better. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah. They say change is as good as a holiday.
I don't know about that though.
Yeah, I'd really like a holiday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Because this last 2 months, the change has not been a holiday.
It's more of a staycation than a vacation, but that's okay. We're going to do a quick fire round, and I'm going to ask you questions, and they're just simple questions, super easy, just to make sure that you're on the ball. And
so if I don't know the answer, I'm just going to go like this, and it's like pause. And people think, oh, there's an internet problem, and we come back and they think I've already anssed it.
No, they're not difficult at all.
No, okay.
They're just to dig a bit deeper into who Pastor is. Okay. So I'm going to ask quickly. Let's do a quick practice round. If you could go on any vacation right now, where would you go? I need a quick answer then.
Madagascar.
Ooh!
Just because I know there's somebody watching our stuff from
That's
Madagascar.
a good answer.
And I saw their picture.
Oh, yeah?
They've got this resort there on the beach, and I think I have honestly been thinking that would be a cool place to go now.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's fabulous. Okay, Madagascar. Okay. Okay, so you have less than 2 seconds to answer these questions. Okay, you ready? Favorite lockdown treat?
Bar one.
Oh! I like that one because it's a 25-hour day.
That's it.
Okay. Most times that you've napped during lockdown.
In the daytime?
Yeah.
Over all of this, probably twice.
What?
I've been busy.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive. Okay. Your favorite thing to do during lockdown?
Talk to you guys.
Oh, that's so nice. I thought you were going to say watch rugby reruns.
We've dreamt so much about moving the church on that I've loved our conversations.
Oh, that's very nice.
Cool.
So nice of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, your favorite lockdown outfit?
My favorite lockdown outfit, my tracksuit.
I also love my tracksuit.
Especially now that it's getting colder. My tracksuit is the best.
Yeah. All right.
Because you can't see from here down. You can't see from here down. So cool. You can. Yeah, it can be full of holes.
Full of holes.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite lockdown movie? Oh, stop it.
No, I'm not a movie person. My wife watches this new thing. I don't even know the name, but it's okay, and I fall asleep with it.
Okay.
So I'm not a movie person.
Okay, book then.
The Bible.
No, that's
honestly, I'm reading the Bible more than I haven't read any books actually. I'm reading the Bible.
Here we're trying to look for some spice.
Yeah,
on the
you're looking for
first
something
word. We
really
just
deep.
Don't have anything.
And I give you something and you think, the Bible should be, wow, you
It
should be
is.
saying, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, what a
Pastor.
good book. What a
Yeah, what a good book to read.
Okay, let's do our last one. Okay, have you broken any of the lockdown rules?
I think we're losing the internet connection here right now. John, have we got an internet problem now? Yeah.
Mildly. Okay, there's all the spice for you, church. All right, we're going to talk a little bit now about what church used to look like and then what we think it'll look like in the future, okay? So for us, obviously, churches looked, I mean, I'm not that old. Churches always looked the same, okay? We had praise and worship, sermons, prayed for each other, time of fellowship. And we were just chatting now about how church for you when you were my age didn't look the same at all. Okay, so tell me a little bit about that. Like, what am I missing? I mean, in my head, it always looked the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, it must have developed over the years. And so I'm not saying develop like better. I'm just saying like different.
It's very different. Now, I came from quite a traditional Reformed background, but most churches were the same. We didn't have many charismatic churches in where I came from. We had the Assemblies of God, we had the Full Gospel, who were the only thing that was really different. They spoke in tongues, you know, and
Okay.
they would be the happy clappy kind of people, you know,
Yeah.
and so on. But so when I would go to church, I would wear a suit. Even as a kid, I would wear a suit
Like-
and a tie.
Okay.
Sometimes a bow tie, and that was really, that was amazing.
Fancy.
That was like, everybody would look at you. And I had this brown, mustardy kind of suit that I can still see with maybe one little tie and like almost like a mustardy kind of yellow shirt. I can still see it, and some brown shoes. And we were not well off. We were actually really poor. And so you would come to the church, and this is the truth. If you didn't have a tie on, the deacon at the door would tell you that you could not go into the church.
That's crazy.
Musical instruments? No. We had an organ, and that was an amazing thing. The whole town would come and came to our church when we put the organ, a pipe organ in. My mum played the pipe organ. But before that, we had a little organ in the church. Now this is you've never seen this.
Stop it.
You would pump it, and then she would play it. And I would not do it in the service, but as a kiddie, I would go and listen to her music because my mom was she was really a good pianist and organist. I don't know why I didn't get it, but anyway, I would sit on the floor then and pump this organ, and you would hear the organ through the music. You would also hear. That was the background. I don't know, maybe that was the drum, you know. We didn't like that. But you would hear that. And that was sometimes what I would do. And then I think once or twice in the service I actually did do that because I now remember my mom gave me a tap once because I forgot that I had to pump all the time. It was a big job. I think organists
wow.
had very strong right legs those days, you know.
Yeah.
And so you pumped that. So we would march into the church. We would be very quiet, extremely quiet. Kids would not allow to be heard in church.
Wow.
I think I rebelled later against some of those things, which was really terrible for me as a kid. I thought we were scared that we would maybe even wake God up. So we were very quiet. I remember the glares that I got. My sisters wore hats. The dominee had this Batman suit. And when I graduated, I had one, but I wore it once and I felt so out of place. You know, this collars and all that stuff. So I did away with that. So church was very different. You know, we didn't have phones those days like we have now. We had something that you would pick up the phone and ring it like this, and you would listen, and somebody would say, "Number, please," and then my phone number was 248. Watervalboven, 248.
That's
bakery,
the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. My dad had a bakery, and his number was 22.
Stop it.
Nommer 22 asseblief. And that's it, you know. And then the auntie there wouldn't have much work, so she would listen into all the conversations, genuinely. And especially on the farm lines. And sometimes you would hear her go, and you say, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you put down the phone?" In Afrikaans nogal, "I'm talking to my friend here." So you didn't really skin it. And if you did, everybody would know about it. Oh, then we upgraded to phones where you actually had a dial.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was amazing. And then push buttons. That was amazing. And for me, a gadget man, we needed the upgrades, you know. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Cell phones, I can't remember when cell phones came in. What was it? Maybe I was probably in my 40s already when cell phones came in. We didn't have lights at church. We didn't have overhead projectors, which now is data projectors. We had none of that stuff. None of that stuff.
That is incredible.
It was. But
So-
relationships were fairly good.
Yeah. Well, I guess, really, what else did you have to do?
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. I mean, were you even allowed to talk?
Not in church. After church, outside, yes. And then in church, no, not in church, not in church. The moment you walk through those doors, it was stilte asseblief, quiet please,
Wow.
you're in church. I think we were scared we were going to wake God up. I really think we did, you know, maybe, yeah.
Now we're bold and brave and beautiful.
Now kids
and-
are running around and
Yeah.
I never saw my pastor laugh.
That's
Never.
sad. You laugh at me all the time.
At you, yeah. You know, why? Give me good reason to. Yeah, so it was very different. I think, but like I said, if you're not happy with change at the moment,
Yeah.
you're going to be left behind because things change. You know, for years we had those overhead projectors. Maybe you even used them at school where you would put the transparency on there.
And move it up.
And
as
move
you're
it up
saying.
and put the next song on and you had a screen there and so on. Now, I mean, if we had to bring some of that stuff back, we would probably not have a church in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
People say, no ways, you archaic, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, Pastor, let me ask you the most important question of today. Do you think that church is still the hope of the world?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Even
You know,
despite all the change?
absolutely, yes. We know when we say the church is the hope, is that we proclaim Christ to people. We know that, so we talk in the same language. Yes, because we proclaim Christ, it is probably now more relevant than any time. You know, the Bible is still relevant
Yeah.
through 2,000 years, and even before that, the thousands of years before when the Old Testament was written, it is still addressing issues we face today.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we preach from it. That's why we don't make up our own stories, because it is as relevant then as it still addresses the issues you and I go through right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think so. So when it comes to our society, when it comes to our community, we've got to adapt. We've got to adapt the message, the method, but not the message. The message
Absolutely.
remains the same. So it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it. It's not necessarily what you do, but it's how you do that is also so important. You know, so obviously the Bible remains. It is how we do things that changes. So we are relevant. We're addressing issues that are right into the hearts of people at the moment on online. We're addressing issues about our fears, about our depressions, about our joys, about our successes, all of that stuff. It's just how we do it is just very, very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's been this common misconception that because everything is going online, it's kind of invalidating church, where we haven't felt that at all.
No.
In fact, we've not only kept what we've been doing before, but added to it so much more. And Pastor, you know a lot about that, obviously, because you spearheaded all of it. But tell us a bit about how our church has not only kept our fundamentals of real people, eternal impact, awesome God, but we're trying to grow on it to make it a bit bigger.
Yeah, I think one of the amazing things for me always is when I hear people who maybe come from other countries and they comment on our services. And, you get really, really good sermons and really good messages and churches and music all over the world. So if you want to look for better messages, if you want to look for better music, you're going to find it. You know, we're not saying we're the best, but what we are is real and authentic. And when people see how we relate, see how we present the word, people make comments like, you guys are real. Well, yes, that's what we want to stand for. And we don't fake it. We don't want to, we are. And I think it comes from how you as a senior pastor treat the people, be real with them. Then your staff will start doing it and your people will start doing it as well. I remember my early days as a pastor, people could not call me Pastor Roelof. And I would often say, don't call me Pastor Roelof, call me Roelof. My function as pastor, my name is Roelof. People really battle with it. Today is not as difficult, but you still get some of that. So I think the way we have done things have been it was difficult for me to adapt, but I'm keen to learn. I'm keen to adapt. I have done things that I know that the first video we made, there was nobody in the congregation. I would look left and right, and Bryce says, "Dad, focus on the camera." I said, "All right," because the people are sitting in their lounge. They're not sitting all over there. So we're learning a lot, eh? We're really learning a lot. So what was the question again, Lee?
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
That's okay. It is very exciting. It's exciting talking about. So we were just chatting now about what we're still doing as a church, and I
Yes.
think a lot of people have this misconception that we've stopped things,
Yes.
but we still have life groups running.
Yeah.
They just online now.
Yeah.
We still have children's church running. It just is online.
Mm.
We connecting with our congregation, and although we can't do it face to face and give handshakes and hugs, we phoning everyone. We still have all of those connection points. It just looks a bit different.
It is. I think what we really all miss, and even this morning in our pastors' meeting, some people were really frustrated because they said what they really miss is the personal contact with our people.
Yeah.
So we've got to adapt here. And it's not, some things are easier to adapt to than others. I don't really want to adapt to non-physical. When the president says to me, "No more hugs, we'll have to redo how we do life, no more hugs and kisses," I say, no. Eventually, sorry, Mr. President, but eventually I'm going to do that. So I'm okay now. So I think, yes, church is in some ways better, but in some ways not. The not is that we still have a number of people who don't have data, who can't go online, and we're trying to find those people.
Yeah.
And maybe some of us who've got a bit more money can actually give them some data. Maybe those are the kind of things you've got to start thinking through. How can I help people who don't have data to actually get online? Because online is an amazing tool.
Yeah.
To reach people. We have reached, there's about 90 people watching our services in Cape Town. There's 55 in Durban. There's people, about 30 or 40 in New Zealand. There are people in Pakistan. There are people in India watching our services. There are people in South and North America watching our services. So the spread has been much bigger. All right, so let's look at some things that are really different. Preaching, you probably get used to that better, or okay, that's not a bad thing. You can watch a guy. The thing that is different there and challenging is that you can lose people easily. So you got to preach short, to the point, and you can't drift off a little bit, and that's challenging, because if I drift off here, I tell a joke about somebody. I normally tease my wife. People are back with me again, and that's okay, because they're captive audience.
Yeah.
At home, if you drop them, they're going to make coffee.
Yeah.
And they may not come back again.
Yeah.
So that's one adjustment. Worship is another adjustment.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I listen to the worship that we record in our services, I wonder how many people are standing there and really worshiping God. That's something you've got to learn how to do.
Yeah.
I think our challenge here in recording and interacting with people is that sometimes you concentrate so much on interacting with the people that you forget to worship and listen to the sermon yourself, and we've recorded it.
Yeah.
So those are major adjustments. Worship, while it's live and not here. The other things I think that are some things that are still going well is counseling. That can still happen. You can counsel a person very effectively online.
Yeah.
Zoom is amazing. They've ironed out a lot of issues about Zoom. In the beginning, we had security issues. So that can happen very well. And we've got counselors waiting for you. Come on, bring your problems, so it can happen. Youth work is very different.
Yeah.
How do you guys experience it? I mean, you worked a little bit with some of our youth leaders. You danced up and down here. What do you think are the problems there?
I think it's very difficult to show kids how much you care about them and get that personal interaction. Kids are very much relationship fueled, and it's difficult to build strong relationships with kids, and especially new kids, because you can't get to know them. I can't say, Delports, what is your favorite chocolate, or what did you do this week, or because we just can't interact like that. So I think that's a big challenge for us. Is we'd love to be able to build relationships with them like we have before, but we just can't because of that barrier between us. Yeah.
I think the other obstacle here is that when kids come here, you have a couple of hundred here on a Friday night.
Yeah.
There's interaction happening right here. They don't need a cell phone. They don't need an iPad. They don't need internet.
Yeah.
At home, it's supper now. It is one cell phone maybe, one laptop maybe between them. Dad wants to be on the internet because he wants to do his banking. Mom is on Facebook, she wants to write to her friend. The kids have got a youth program that we give, and they are the ones that are suffering. So we have less, and all over churches are battling with it, less interaction with our kids and our youth because they don't have their own devices. And please don't go and buy them a cell phone now. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying give them space when we do our programs. Give them the space. Move out the way and dance with them and connect with them. And you have a brilliant opportunity now to actually do the program with your kid. I mean, I watched the whole of the Friday night program. I was more worried about my kayak that you guys had up here.
But it was clean.
But it was good. It was clean. But you didn't give me popcorn, but anyway, afterwards. But you see, so that's different. That's a big challenge. Youth and children, big challenge. Like I said, counseling can happen. Outreach is an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely.
An amazing opportunity. And I'll tell you why. I have used our local Facebook platforms in our community to put a lot of things on. I have very little resistance, and if I do, I just don't respond to it. I had a guy said to me once in the beginning, I just don't want you to make people believe your God is real.
Oh.
So I said, you and I must have coffee.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
No more comments after that. Somebody else said to me, you know what? Last week I put out how amazing the food distribution is going, which I will tell you just now about the compassion side of our church. And he says, please, you know, that same God that you're saying is providing for people is allowing kids and to starve and adults to starve and all of this. So my only response to it is saying, I hear what you're saying, but don't blame God for all the things that we mess up.
Absolutely.
But I respect your viewpoint. It ended the conversation. You see, what we tend to do is now we want to get into an argument with a person, and it just becomes messy.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the opportunities, people are writing about our church because of our post, because I'm sharing what is happening. And if you're just willing not to get into an argument, but make a statement and leave it, and even if they nail you, just back off. It's there. It's out there. People are reading it. You don't have to defend it.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit will defend it. So I think wonderful opportunities are, but we must have the guts to do it. And many people are not taking it.
Absolutely. I think a big struggle that many people are having at the moment is without being in this church environment and with the accountability and your friends and having that feeling of, wow, like this is an amazing experience. A lot of people are kind of neglecting their spiritual journey with God. And I think unless you're making a priority in your life, it's very difficult to keep something strong going with Him when it's not an experience every week. And so what advice would you give to people to keep their spiritual journey strong during this time?
You know what, I was so encouraged by I'm going to mention his name, Andre Delport, chatted to me on the men's meeting the other day. And he was just saying, you know what, in the morning he gets up and it's about routine.
Yeah.
Okay. If you just going to flop around, I don't know what to do today, and then I can't go shopping and I can't do this. My dear friend, that's the recipe for just going down, and you will keep on going down. We'll find you in a depression mood, and we'll have to counsel you out of it soon. And that's how depression starts, is when we can't get ourselves out of it. So routine is a good thing. You have to have a time. My alarm goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll phone you tomorrow when it goes off.
So early.
I have routine. We walk. I pray. I read the Bible. Andre said to me he reads the Bible in the morning and in the evening, and he's trying to do it lunchtime as well, and following obviously the example of Daniel. who pray
Yes.
3 times a day.
Yes, yeah.
And I think now is a good time to get some of those habits. And a habit is formed when you do, they say when you do things 21 times, you have a permanent habit.
Mhm.
So if you can do this, set your alarm and read. Follow my devotion on the morning. Every morning, if you don't know what to do, I'm working through the book of Hebrews and just sharing some thoughts about God, about us, and what you and I can do.
And they really are so good.
They're
And
amazing.
it doesn't take no. I say that like so biased, but we joke about it every week. I record your devotions, and I sit there going,
Yeah.
good the whole time.
Yeah, I've got to keep focused because Liga's like,
Yeah,
so
amazing.
that's one way to do. Stop watching all the other devotions. Follow your own pastor's devotion. That's my real good advice. You know, So also have short marathons or short runs instead of a marathon in the beginning. Some people think,
Absolutely, yeah.
if I can't pray for 20 minutes, I'm not like Peter Stark, and so on. But forget that.
Yeah.
Pray like Roelof then. Short prayers to God,
Yeah.
and just do little bits, but have a habit. If you I remember the first time I had a quiet time, it was, let's say, 6 o'clock until 3 minutes past 6. And I would go, oh man, this was so short, eh? But you develop a habit of
Yeah.
speaking to God. You develop a habit of reading and so on. So I think it's just make it a discipline. And saying, so people saying, but my kids, no, then put them to bed at 7 o'clock. Tie them onto the bed, close the door, put the lights off, and go and have your quiet time. Your kids do go to sleep every now and then. Use opportunities. Yeah. And I think for John Wesley's mother, and she had 17 children. So every now and then she would sit in the kitchen and she would put her apron over her head and the kids would be quiet because mommy is talking to God.
Oh, that's
Your kids
cool,
will
yeah.
learn if you've got kids. Don't say, Your kids need to learn discipline as well.
Yeah.
When you talk to God, let them, shh, I'm talking to God. So I think it's about discipline, scheduling it in like anything else. An undisciplined person won't have a quiet time anyway now.
I think that's something that's so important is we need to understand that God is not hindered by COVID and he's not hindered by lockdown. And we actually posted yesterday about you can't quarantine our praise. And I think that we as a church need to come together and understand that nothing is going to stop Jesus. Literally nothing. Not having church online, nothing. And so it might look different, but his work, his call, his work in our lives, none of that is going to stop. And so we need to be so conscious of that.
Another thing that is an amazing tool for spiritual growth, apart from watching our services, apart from maybe following the devotion, and after Hebrews I'm going to go through another book because I think it's valuable to go through these books. But apart from all of that is life groups. Now people say, I can't attend a life group. No, you absolutely can. And there's a church in the States and 1,000 online life groups they've got.
Wow.
They are churches, and this is where we're going. They are churches that have started churches under lockdown.
Yeah.
And first you say, but how can we do that? Online.
Yeah.
Now,
Why not?
life group. I said to Carol this morning, let's start a life group.
I'll come.
Yeah. How do you come? It's through Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah.
And if you don't have data, there are people in your group that can give you a bit of data money for that. Because you know what's the beauty of this? Now, I like the personal contact, you see. But in the week, how busy are we even outside of lockdown? Often people say, no, I can't come to because I'm so busy. I can't come home late. Then I must eat. Then I must go to life group. Now, God has forced us where on a Wednesday night, every one of us can be, and Nick is going to work the next couple of weeks because that's part of the plan. You see how many online life groups. You see, a number of things about online life groups is numbers are not limited. I can have on mine, because I've got Premier Zoom, which is obviously because we do a lot of the church work, Premier, I can do 400 or 500 people on a life group. But you can have maybe, I don't know how many on a normal Zoom, 30, 40, 20. So numbers is not really a problem. Jonathan is shouting something there. How many, Jonathan? 100 people in your life group. well, you can start your own church, you know. So, so you're going to have 100 people in your life group. Number 2, time.
Yeah.
Normally, you've only got 40 minutes, which is actually very good.
Yeah.
Because in 40 minutes, you've got to greet them, love them, give them something in the word, and send them back.
Yeah.
So everybody can do 40 minutes a week on a life group.
Yeah.
You see, if normally, if you invite me to your life group, you live in Ferndale. Now I've got to get my makeup on. I've got to drive to Ferndale, which is 10 minutes from here?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Roughly, yeah.
But I go through, it's dark. I'm going to dodge the traffic, and I'm scared of maybe the guy standing at the traffic light there. I'm worried if I'm a single woman that I have got to drive there. You don't have to do that anymore. Then it's the life group, and it takes 15 minutes to get into the life group. Then it's driving back in the dark, and women with single children don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Now we're saying you can do it. You can lock your kids up in the toilet while you do it and make sure the key is on this side. You can do it. It's 40 minutes, because in 40 minutes time, if it wasn't, so Peter must be battling now with 40 minutes only in a life group.
I know.
Yeah, sorry Uncle Pete, sorry Pastor Pete,
Pastor
we
Pete.
feel for you. But you see, so we want to start life groups, plenty of life groups,
Okay.
and we want to start churches.
Well, there you go, church. That's kind of some of the dreams that we're looking towards. So I guess join a life group. Yes.
Exactly.
When we plant churches, join that too. It's all online. You don't even have to drive to Ferndale.
Exactly. You
It's
can join a
amazing.
church in Brits now.
Stop it.
Yes, exactly. Because you don't have to drive there. I see some people in our church are watching Jared, you know, so I just want to say, this is your church, don't watch Jared too much. No, I'm just teasing.
Quant.
Yeah, it's a quant, you know, it's a quant.
So, Pastor, just for a final question, and this is a big one, I guess, for people who have never experienced church, who've never even had the experience of being in the building with us and seeing you preach and being part of the worship. Would you encourage people to still join church online? And why is it a good idea to join?
I think it's an amazing opportunity to join, because you know what? I still like those first-time visitors coming through those doors. It's for me like a highlight on a Sunday, because we connect with them, we give them coffee, we phone them when we do this and so on. We can still do that now, you see. So what we encourage people, if you're new, we're just saying new, and we're going to follow you up. So the exciting thing about this is you can actually get a little bit used to us before you actually come here.
Yes, yeah.
So it's probably lekker and better, you know. We would love to have bums on seats again, if I can use that phrase after this again. We would love that, because that is so rewarding for a preacher. Because you know what, when I preach and we pre-record sometime, and this Sunday we're going live, you see people's names go on, but you still wonder, is it 1, 2, or 3 people in the house that are watching? How many people are really watching? I was so encouraged, and I almost kissed my pillow last night, because 50 or 80 people are on YouTube and Facebook, and then we put on there how many are watching, and we realize almost 200 people are in our prayer meeting. And I go, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So those are the kind of things. So online, join, get your friends. Every time we go online, I post it. I say, like it. I have my friends in Durban watching. Some of them are non-believers. They're watching us. We have now people in Spain watching our services who are backslidden Christians. We have people who are school friends who have not been in church and school watching us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we say hi, and I'm using any name, hi Jane. And I think they feel so guilty, they're not responding to us. But you know what? Eventually they'll get used to it, and they will. Yesterday there was a lady who's an atheist in our prayer meeting asking for prayer.
Amazing.
An atheist.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, you know, we like the bums on seats. And I think we want to be back there. We want to be back there. But at the moment, I'm not too worried about it, because I'm saying, Lord, how can we do what we're doing now better? How can we reach more people? How can we involve more people? How can we reach people who are not online, who have internet problems? And I don't mind sponsoring 1 or 2 myself, you know, because I want you to be with us. I want you to watch our services. I want you to be part of what we're doing, because it is exciting times. You know what? Yeah, I can talk a lot. I want to talk about compassion too as well. That's amazing. Ask me a question, I'll answer the question about compassion.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
Compassion.
Yes. That's a statement. That's not a question. But I get the question. Compassion. Guys, listen to what's happening. This is amazing. I got the figures yesterday. Now, we have problems to distribute food at the moment, but I'm not going to go into the problems at the moment, you see, because there's too many unnecessary regulations. And I made a big statement on Facebook about that. It's gone international. It's been liked by thousands of people. And anyway, so we have problems. But amidst the problems, we have phenomenal results. Now, in the beginning, as the barn, we started to network with a whole lot of churches from Windsor right down to Mildersdrift and now Magaliesburg as well. And also in Midrand now as well, which is amazing. So we trusted God to reach people with compassionate acts. Carol and I sowed the first bit of money. I sowed 3,000 Rand into it in the beginning, and I still thought, that's going to run out by tomorrow. It's not going to be much. You know, up to today, roughly speaking, we have between 400 and 500,000 we have collected for compassion.
Amazing.
That is only outside. If we add inside, we're well over 500,000 we've collected for compassion. You know what? Yesterday I got the figures. Last night, conservatively speaking, we have given out 350,000 meals. 350,000 stomachs have had food in them because all of the NGOs and churches that we've been able to, there's not too many, but it's enough. That is amazing. You know, when I go to bed, I think, thank you, Father. Testimonies are coming in. I've shared this on Facebook. A mom wrote to me and said to me a week ago, says, I am hungry. I've got 3 daughters. We have no food. We haven't had food for days. We send her a food voucher. The first one failed. The next food voucher, she could go and cash money. She wrote back to us and said, for the first time in days, we have a nutritious meal that we shared. Her daughter didn't finish the meal. And the mommy said, my darling, don't you like the food? She says, Mommy, it's very good, but I'm keeping some for tomorrow. And I got to breathe deep because I get emotional every time I share the story. And the mommy says, no, my girl, you eat that food because tomorrow Jesus will provide for us. The woman wrote to me and says, Pastor, let me tell you, your church has restored my hope in God again. It shows me God looks after his own. That's one testimony of many. So please, you cannot. People have said to me, Roelof, can we help distributing food? Not yet. Time's coming. We can't have that physical contact. But give at the moment. Give at the moment. Give to your church, because your church is doing an amazing work with many other churches. God has met our needs up to now. But please give over and above. I look for opportunities to sow. I go to the robots, and I'm one of many who do that. I'm not the example of doing it. But there's so much compassionate work we can do at this time, more than any time. Please take the opportunities.
Church, I think that we can all agree that church is not only relevant now, but is doing more now than it ever has before. And so, Pastor, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about what our church is going through and what it has been going through, and what our plans are for the future. It is really exciting, and we're excited to follow you through it, and really just grateful that the barn has been such a constant throughout this time, and we're excited for change with you. And yeah.
Before you go, I think one of the most amazing things about this change as well, that I've seen so over and over, is the value of teams. And I want to end with that my little bit, because we can have session 2 next week on this topic, because I'm so excited about it. So in many ways, church has actually been better. Some ways not, but we adjust. I've seen the value of teams. We have a team working on food distribution. People have come out the woodwork doing amazing things. We have a phenomenal team that is looking after pastoral work. We have a phenomenal team doing what we're doing now, making this happen. And some of the guys are sitting there and you can't see them. Maybe we can change the camera and show it on them, you see. So teams, there have been times where I've just watched, because some of the stuff I don't know anything about. It's like Bryce said to me a while ago, Dad, I've told you so many times to do this and that and so on. With Instagram and so on, you're more patient with me. Thank you. With Instagram. I said, my boy, when you were a teenager, I had to whip your butt many times because you didn't listen to me. I don't know. I'm learning. And I'm willing to learn. So I think teams have been, man, has blessed me so much. It's realized a team needs a captain and needs a leader, but a team leader that controls will not see what we have seen in this time.
Absolutely. Amen. So thank you to everyone who's been involved in all of the teams. If you do want to get involved, please contact us. It would be really good to have you join us. Obviously, like we said, we can't bring people on physically, but if you have something to contribute, whether it's expertise or time or whatever the case may be, we'd really love to add you to one of our teams. Pastor, thank you so much for chatting to us today. I think we'll definitely have to have a round 2, especially just to hear about what the church used to be like.
And we're such a good team on stage. I'm sure people are going to like it and send it all over the world.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, church, and we will see you on Sunday.
Amen. Don't miss the sermon.
Don't miss it.